Well, thank you for joining us. I'm Ricky Dixon, Marketing Director of Prescott E-News, and I'm joined here today with Dave Everson of Mandalay Homes and Salman Ahmad of Mosaic Construction. And I'm really excited to be able to have them here to be able to just kind of ask some questions, mostly because of some really exciting news that I guess I'll let you guys explain. But first, let me ask you, Dave, how did you get started with Mandalay Homes?
It's been we started 21st anniversary. Started in Phoenix, Arizona, and I was originally in framing and remodeling and decided to learn the home building business and had a tenure with another home builder that ended, and I was like, well, I can do this on my own. And so that's how it all started.
That's really cool. And I know most people have seen the car rolling around that has the slogan on the back. There's a certain energy here. What's behind that?
That was kind of a little bit of insight by a marketing team that came in and got to know us a little bit. Double entendre because we're certainly into the energy efficiencies of home building construction and high performance homes, but the buy-in of the team it just does carry a certain energy. So it's like it's just a little bit different culture, pretty open-minded and enthusiastic about things that are sometimes kind of out of the box.
What do you mean out of the box?
Well, as a construction industry, we sometimes get stale, and we're busy and we're trying to accomplish things for folks, and you don't want distraction, and so anything innovative is somewhat shunned sometimes because you're just too busy for it, and we've managed to work our way out of that mindset and into a more more engaging mindset of new ideas and products.
Cool. So, Salman, with you and your company, Mosaic Construction, how did you get started in that?
Yeah, so Mosaic is actually an interesting company. So it's a technology company in the construction space, and the core technology behind Mosaic was actually stuff that I was working on when I was going through grad school. So I was working on my PhD over in Boston, and a lot of the ideas that I was kind of incubating there were around the ideas of how do you adopt technology in the physical space. And after I graduated and got my PhD and finished up, started thinking about what's the next evolution of that. And the real, irrespective of the technology piece, one of the major touch points for me around Mosaic as a company was being very mission driven. I grew up in Arizona, and the built environment was very important to me. And so for me, the mission for Mosaic at the beginning was always around how do we create places that people love and how do we make them widely available. And it just so happened that the technology that I was working on during my PhD, which helped kind of coordinate processes in the physical space, could be very readily adapted to construction. And if we're able to make construction more efficient, we could really unlock a lot of the barriers that have been keeping us as an industry from being able to create more unique, vibrant homes and unique, vibrant communities. And so that's kind of the transition from academic, R&D to more of a industry technology pursuit in Mosaic as a company.
Got it. So, what is your mission then, if you were to sum it up?
Yeah, so the mission is twofold. So the vision that we would love to see in the world today is to really have a far more diversity in the types of places that people are creating, not for diversity's sake, but creating places that really address the needs that families have. Each family is unique, and I think in the real estate and home building space, we try to bucket people as much as possible and deliver a product for one bucket and a product for the other bucket. And I think that's probably inevitable, but I guess really what we would like to see from a vision perspective is to create many buckets that people can choose from. And so that's from a vision perspective. That kind of goes back to the mission of creating places that people love and making them widely available. It speaks to the place that people love. If they have far more things to choose from, it addresses that piece. And the other mission element, which I think is important, is making them widely available. We obviously are very focused on the local communities that we're building on, but we really want to see this as something something that expands to everybody everywhere. And that's not just geographic availability, but it's also available in terms of affordability as well, making sure that the homes we're constructing are attainable. Obviously, they're not going to be available if no one can afford them and buy them.
Right.
And so both those things kind of go up, but again, it's summarized with our ethos of our mission of creating places that people love and making them widely available.
Cool. So you mentioned being able to, I guess, get these out there more. And that, I believe, is the reason that both of you have kind of come together, right? So Mosaic and Mandalay now are combining forces, right?
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, that was it was formalized September 1st with a contract between Mandalay and Mosaic to build homes for the next 2 years, roughly 400 homes together. Hence the $100 million contract that we signed. But it really started, I think, when we met at a conference, and we just happened to be sitting down at the same table at a Belfiore conference, and started chatting each other up. And it was really interesting, short-lived. I was thinking, well, that was fun. I'd like to reconnect at some point. And then about 6 months later, a mutual acquaintance called me up and said, "Hey, I met this really interesting guy, and I think you'd enjoy talking to him." And as it turns out, it was Salman.
Yeah, and from Mosaic's standpoint, I think the partnership that we have with Mandalay is something that we couldn't be more excited by. From our standpoint, being able to really push the boundaries as to what types of places are being created and innovations that we can push there is really what we see as the ethos behind Mandalay Homes as an organization. And not only that, but it goes back to Dave's earlier point around everything is urgent, that everything else that's somewhat unique or exotic is seen as a distraction. And really the focus that we have in Mosaic is to help certainly Mandalay, but the broader industry, other home builders as well, to make new innovations, new ideas, new opportunities not viewed as a distraction, for us to be able to hopefully try to move the needle forward in making some of those things more possible, and again allow the ultimate home buyers and homeowners to benefit from those. So obviously we're super excited to be building homes for Mandalay communities, and excited about where that will ultimately take both companies as well.
Yeah, I think your comment on it benefiting others is among other things is one of the reasons we were so aligned. Is Mandalay's pursuit has been largely on the performance side of the home, and it's been a 10, 11-year evolution to get to where we're at today, and we still have some more places we can go with it. But it's always been open architecture to it. We compete annually with the Department of Energy, and that forum is is everybody sharing their ideas and proof of concept. And that was really what was nice about meeting Saman, is because everything he was doing is trying to benefit others. So I think what happened is you get the two cultures together that say, hey, we're here to explore and to share. Mandalay created a nice playground for all of Saman's ideas, and then Mandalay gets benefit of the ideas, of course, but then it kind of incubates there and gets handed off and made available to others, the trade partners and to other home builders.
Well, I know that there's a lot of interest in what you guys are doing around the nation, because it is so on the cutting edge of home building. It's never been done before. So what projects have you guys worked on that have gotten so much attention and that have really kind of made this be viable?
Yeah, I think the Jasper community in Prescott Valley has been where that's our initial playground. That's where we started just exploring some initial concepts on framing practices. And that was already getting some attention in the nation for some virtual power plant and energy storage and platforms. But again, that's on the performance side. And then the process side was being largely ignored. Like, we need to get more efficient. We have a limited trade base that does a great job with what we built, But there's so much more we can get to. We can empower them to get to more homes and accommodate more people, or maybe build, well, absolutely build a more durable home. So anyway, so that started getting attention, especially the framing. And maybe you can explain the framing a little bit better.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I talked about the fact that, Mosaic is a technology focused construction company. So I guess I can describe a little bit more about the technology itself and how it specifically pertains to the framing initiatives that we're currently pursuing. So the way that Mosaic's technology ultimately works is that we have developed a common data language that allows us to express how a home gets constructed in the field. And this might seem similar to architectural programs or other modeling CAD systems. And I think the unique element about what we're trying to do is we're not taking a design-focused view of modeling a house, but rather a construction and in-the-field construction point of view of how a house comes together. And so we're modeling how the house should be constructed, and from that model, we're able to output different interfaces to workers in the field in terms of automatically generated IKEA-like instructions that make their work a lot easier and a lot less error-prone. It eliminates a lot of the ambiguity, as well as being able to integrate with automation and machines through automation control files for things like saws in the lumber yard and so on. And the overall pursuit of this technology is that it can apply to things like framing, but also other trades and other things over time. And the goal here is to leverage the existing trade base, the existing workforce that exists today, and allow them to focus more on the things that allow them to be productive rather than them spending time kind of guessing and trying to figure out what should be done in the field. And so one of the things that we've done with framing is with the data model that we're able to create for each home that we construct, we are able to automatically generate on a house-by-house basis, given all the options. And Mandalay didn't make our life particularly easy on that front. They make an amazing house that provides a tremendous amount of choice to the customer, which is ultimately what we love to see. We would love to see more home builders do that. But we give all the options put together. We were able to generate for that lot every single wall an elevation diagram for how the house should come together. We're able to provide information in terms of all the lumber that is needed for the house, so that can be pre-computed ahead of time. And most importantly, we're able to dispatch automation control files, so we can have the lumber pre-cut in a factory to leverage the capabilities and the quality control that they have in a control plant. But it gets bundled and kitted and shown up to site, so we can still leverage the on-field adaptability on site, as well as leveraging the existing workforce and trade base.
So the idea is that when a construction worker actually gets this lumber, they don't have to pull out a saw and cut it to the size. It's already done beforehand, and they just slap it together. It's like Legos.
Exactly.
Right?
To some extent, yeah.
Really
It's
complicated Legos, but
yeah, get it and labeled, and you can be successful day one as a framer or a construction specialist, which is the ultimate objective. Yeah.
So you've been working on that already, and you've used that for a couple homes. Is that correct?
We've done about 20 homes that way. Mandalay's framing crew which was formed specifically to be able to have field testing and communication with Mosaic. There's just been this back and forth between the framers and the engineers, and this ongoing coding of exceptions and conflict and efficiency, and it's still evolving. We discontinued for a short bit of time while Saman and the team recoded the current program, and I think we're launching the new version here in about a week or two. And so the new cut packs that are being generated through Foxworth locally will start showing up mid-October. And we're pretty excited about that because the proof of concept went pretty efficiently. And then we regrouped and see what happens. I think it should be pretty cool.
And Dave mentioned something, so I jump in here, that I think is really interesting around this idea of coding the construction process. So I grew up in a construction household, and the thing that I like to do is compare construction and programming, because obviously I come from an academic, my academic professional background has always been in software engineering and computer science. And the interesting thing that I've seen there is that both construction and programming, they're both an art in orchestrating a process. Right? In the computer program, you're writing code to schedule your threads or communicate over the network or store data in memory. And construction's ironically kind of the same thing. You're storing materials on site, you're scheduling subcontract. The parallels are actually really interesting. At the end of the day, it's both a process. But the interesting thing is that software has gone leaps and bounds over the past 50 years, right? Whereas construction, as Dave mentioned, is largely stagnated. And I think the unique element there is that the software processes can be saved. And they're saved as programs. They can be updated, they can be enhanced, they can be optimized by hundreds, if not thousands of people. On your iPhone today, there is code that's running that was originally written in the 1970s. And it's just been optimized and patched. It has had tens of thousands of people pouring their ideas to make that code better over time. And what's happened is that it progressively becomes exponentially more efficient, exponentially more useful. And that's kind of what we're trying to bring to the construction practices in the field, where each home, the lessons that you learn building that home are lost by the time you build the next one. So really codifying, this is the way that you should frame a window when it's right next to a door, or a door when it breaks right next to the end of a wall. Those small little tweaks, being able to codify that in our data language is what we really hope will allow us to have exponential improvements over time.
Yep, it's been generational because you think about tradesmen handing off to an apprentice, and that's been largely lost because the career component, what feels like a career, has been somewhat lost in the construction industry. So now that handoff was likely more of a lateral move than a growth model. It wasn't as much building blocks as it was passing along. In this case, it's truly building blocks, because what gets passed along gets improved, and carried forward and cataloged.
Wow, that's really impressive. So what's the next project? Is it just continuing to optimize, or are there more things that you're trying to go forward? I mean, you mentioned 400 homes in the next 2 years. Is that what you're looking at?
Yeah, that's our obligation to ourselves and our customers right now with the communities we have going. The really nice thing about the process is nothing changes. In fact, when you go out to the job site, you're going to notice subtle differences. It's a lot cleaner job site. It's a lot more efficient job site. The homes feel a little bit different. Maybe you don't know why, because maybe the materials are better product materials, better utilized. But you can just adapt on the fly. So we can pause. We can introduce new ideas. And we don't disrupt the process. We don't disrupt the tradespeople that are already there. We garner their support and their interest and their ideas, create solutions around it. So you kind of just follow your nose through the process while we're doing what we naturally do already, which is deliver homes to customers.
Yeah, and just to piggyback off of that, I mentioned earlier on that the real focus of this initiative is to really try to provide that to others as well. And in terms of what's next and so on, I mean, there's a lot on the technology development roadmap. We've been focusing on framing. There's other trades that we can, we're looking to go into. But even within framing, we've been focusing primarily on the wall systems and expanding to the roof and other types of things within framing itself are obviously kind of on the technology roadmap. But beyond that, it's really about seeding and supporting the broader ecosystem, right? Meeting with, understanding, the trade base, the subcontractors, the people in the field that work for those subcontractors, and so on. I think is kind of another really crucial point for us is, as Dave mentioned, we really want to leverage the existing talent, thoughtfulness and creativity that the existing trade base and workforce represents. And so I think that's another really major thing that we have been really excited, and I think we've had a lot of fun doing so far with the trade partners that we have been working with, and we're really excited to continue doing that and leverage their learnings, because again, in the same way that the same code that was on your iPhone has benefited from the eyes and the insights of thousands of other people. So we're also interested in getting the real insights from the trade base and ultimately support them to be able to build faster and focus on what they love to do.
Well, and being happy with what you're doing, being proud of what you do, is a big deal. And feeling successful day to day, and it's a perpetual occupation. I mean, there's always going to be another thing to build, and enjoying it and not having, and being able to quantify and walk away for something you're proud of each day and knowing you were successful, everybody deserves that, and this helps with that.
That's really neat. So I guess here's the big question then. How does this impact the community? What's your goal to be able to help, specifically the Prescott area, but it doesn't seem like it's something that's just going to stay here.
Yeah, well, I have my ideas about how it's going to help, and I think Salman does as well. But we have an incredible community that has been supporting. We've been supporting each other and supporting new people coming in for years and years. We've been, I think, we've been pretty hospitable and accommodating and welcoming, and I think we're going to be able to be even more so. And that doesn't just mean from Mandalay or any communities we're working in. It means the trade partners that we all share, among other home builders like Dorn Homes or Carrington Homes or Aspen Valley or Universal. So if these practices all start getting adopted and leveraged, the homes become more durable. The cost of home ownership becomes lower, and they run more efficiently. And so. I think sometimes we get caught up in the cost of a home, but really, what does it cost to own that home? And if it's properly constructed and consistent in the application, it's a better home, and it's going to serve the home buyer a lot longer, a lot less expensively.
And on my end, I think, so first things first. When we have been building Mosaic and we've been focusing on the technology deployments, and there's definitely a community aspect in terms of everything that we're doing, and I have to say it's just been really amazing to be able to work in to be honest, like northern Arizona in general, but specifically Prescott Valley and so on. It's been so it's just been a pleasure. Again, the other trade base here, the people in the general community. It's just been an honor to be able to do this type of stuff here. And from our standpoint, beyond the stuff that Dave mentioned of being able to deliver better quality homes and kind of continue to push the boundaries on an innovation standpoint. Really, our hope and our collective hope is candidly just to do the community proud as well. I think there's some really cutting edge ideas that we're exploring here, and not all of them are going to work. And some of them are going to be amazing, and some of them are not going to be what we hope them. But in either case, my hope is that we're advancing the conversation, and I think that's something that we hope to make the people who live in Prescott Valley, live in Prescott, proud about the work and the ideas that are originating from this local community.
And you're moving here, right?
I already have moved here, so I've grown up in Arizona my entire life, but I grew up in Tempe and Chandler down in Phoenix, and so I've officially relocated and moved up here to Prescott.
Okay, that was one of my proud accomplishments is recruiting him up here.
And of course, he's in the Mandalay Homes, right?
Absolutely, is, yeah. But I think even a more proud moment is on the drive over here. Someone volunteered that he was really enjoying living here, which was a concern of mine because I was instrumental. I was like, I was nervous, and he commented that just how genuinely nice people have been to him since he's been here. So I'm pretty most proud of that, of us in the community for welcoming me. some money.
Yeah, that's true, especially because with 400 more homes, we're going to be welcoming a lot more people, right?
That's right.
A lot more families, and if we can extend that to them as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
That would be nice.
That's
I'd like
awesome.
that.
Cool.
So,
Cool. Well, thank you for coming in today. It's been a real pleasure. If people had questions for you, whether individually or for the company as a whole, what would be the best way for them to get a hold of you and get in contact? Or
yeah, they're welcome to. Mine's pretty easy. It's just dave@mandalayhomes.com.
Yeah.
Okay.
And similar on my side, would love to, any questions people have. It's my first name. It's SALMAN at Mosaic, MOSAIC.us. And we also have on our website, mosaic.us, we have a contact link and email address there that people can feel free to reach out, and that will candidly probably be the get to. I see all that stuff that comes through as well, and a bunch of other people do as well. So that may actually be the fastest way as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well,
You're
thank you
welcome.
very much, and I guess we'll end it here and see you later.
Yeah.
Thanks for inviting us in. It was
Thank you so
awesome.
much.
We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.